Our heroes have failed to take out Deathstroke, and Pariah and his dark army have arrived at Earth 1. In Multiverse 2, the Justice League tries to get back to Earth 0, but they may be erased if they leave the paradise worlds Pariah made using their individual energies. In Sector 666, the whole Green Lantern Corps guards the entrance of the massive Black Lantern, waiting for Hal Jordan to give them a sign of his return, with the instructions to destroy anything besides Hal, Joe, or Kyle that come out of the Lantern. Damian Wayne is on his way back with the Justice League Incarnate, and they have a way to destroy the dark chains that bounds Pariah's army. But will they make it in time? Mr. Terrific is trying to get a message to the Green Lantern Corps that Pariah has returned with the whole of the Dark Army, and that they need help, but the signal is lost. That's when the Black Lantern erupts with shadow demons. This is Dark Crisis, Chapter 6, Legacy War. Hey everybody, welcome back to Lapsed Comic Fan. I'm Steve, and today we're talking Dark Crisis number 6. So I'd like to welcome all the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. And if you're watching and you're not subscribed, try clicking the button. It really helps out. I'm a small channel. Wait, I'm a normal sized person, but my channel on YouTube is small. I'm not a small channel. I'm a man. And for everybody else, always put your thumbs in the upright position. So we're going to get into Dark Crisis number 6 right away, but at the end, I got a couple of new omnibuses I'm going to show off, so if you want to see those, stick around to the end, and I'll show those. The comic starts off with the narration of how Pariah became acquainted with the Great Darkness. It came to him in his most desperate hour, and that voice led him to today. An all-out war is being fought between the heroes of Earth Zero and the full force of Pariah's Dark Army. The heaviest of heavy hitters are here, and this might be too much for our heroes and their friends. Pariah thinks he's won since the true multiverse was restored, but to achieve ultimate victory, Earth Zero needs to be destroyed, so that the infinite multiverse may live forever. Pariah has been cursed to see the destruction of creation, and all he wants is to right his original sin. But he feels he will never be rid of the darkness he feels. Deathstroke wants his end of the bargain held up because he's done what was asked of him. He got the Dark Army here. He created a crisis. Pariah says he will get everything he wants as soon as this world and its heroes are gone. Beast Boy, seeing a chance to get slayed, jumps in and attacks, but it has little effect. On Pariah's base of operations, the Justice League is trying to find a way back home. If there's a home to go back to. Barry warns them about these Earths. Their vibration rate is very fast, each like a molecule bouncing off the others, and when you get molecules that big, an explosion could send everything into the dark forever. But he and Hal have a plan. Hal was able to lock on to Necron's connection to the darkness to follow them here. If he can connect to the light of the rest of the Green Lanterns, and Barry focuses on the vibration of their universes to navigate, then they may be able to get home. But they don't know if it will sever the connections of the worlds Pariah made using the Justice League's unique energies. There's no guarantee it will work. Green Arrow says that's always the way it works with the Justice League. Every time they go into a fight to save the world, there's never a guarantee that they will survive. But it would never stop him from trying, and he knows it would never stop the other members of the League. They have to risk it. Black Canary is worried this won't work, and they could be risking everything. He tells her they have to trust Barry and Hal, and he will always be with her. In brightest day, run, Barry, run. So at the beginning of the book, we find out what happened in relation to Pariah hearing what he thought was the Great Darkness. It was this voice that came to him in like his most desperate hour. It kind of seemed like he was displaced from everywhere, so I'm assuming this happened right after Crisis on Infinite Earths. I know that Dark Crisis is supposed to be a sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, even though that was like so many years ago, like almost 40 years ago. So it's like, all right, I gotcha. This voice talks to him and kind of tells him, I know you, I understand you, we're going to do whatever together. And that's how he got to where he is now. with everything in between that we went over in the first 6 issues. So he's got his whole dark army on Earth, and they're fighting, and they're kind of taking over the heroes. And Deathstroke's like, hey man, I want like the deal that we had. I want you to uphold your end of the bargain. I did what I was supposed to do. I brought the army here. I created a crisis. And I was just like, crisis. Crises. Crisises. It's just, I don't know. With one book left, and with what happens in this book, and you'll see, it just seems like this, there was really no point to this. Now, that could totally change, and they could change the worlds, the multiverse at the end of the book. But like Crisis on Infinite Earths, you know, they consolidated the multiverse because continuity was just getting out of hand. Infinite Crisis, they brought the 52 Earths back, you know, and I don't know. There just seems to be like they're doing it because it's a crisis. And the story is fine. It's not like horrible or anything, but it just feels like the wheels are going, but it's not getting anywhere. It's just another crossover that could have been done anywhere, but they're using the Crisis name to make it seem like it's a lot bigger than it is. And we find out Pariah, it was what I had thought for a long time. He had just wanted to correct what he felt was his original sin in creating the Crisis on Infinite Earths and wiping out all the Earths. So he wants that multiverse back, that Infinite Earths multiverse, where his Earth is there, and they get into the Paradise Earths a little bit, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but that seems to be Pariah's ultimate goal. We go to Multiverse 2, and we're with the original Justice League, there where Pariah's base of operations was when he was creating all of these Earths. And Barry starts talking about these particular Earths and how their vibrations are super fast. They're basically like bouncing off of each other, like a molecule bouncing off of another molecule. When you have molecules that big, an explosion could happen. Whatever they may do, it could cause an explosion that could send them into darkness. There'd just be nothing. But they have a plan. And this is the stuff that kind of bothers me with DC sometimes. The convoluted ways that they get home. And it's like the same thing with Marvel and their big events. Hal's like, I attuned myself to Necron's energy, and that's how I followed you guys here. Maybe if I, follow or attune to the rest of the Green Lantern Corps that's outside of the big Black Lantern, maybe if I attune to their energy and Barry focuses the vibration to navigate home, it's like, it shouldn't be that easy for you guys to get back. You had a book called The Justice League is Dead, and they weren't. We knew they never were gonna be, right? But they could have done something like when Batman had went back in time after he got hit with the Omega Sanction in Final Crisis, and it's just like these fake out things. It's hard for anybody to get into these stories, and me, who, like I said, is just getting back into comics in the past couple years, like, I'm already jaded to this, and I shouldn't be. I should be the one being like, this is amazing, this is so good. And don't get me wrong, the art in this is incredible. It's awesome. But like, I'm already to the point where I'm like, okay, they're gonna hone energies and vibrations and frequencies, and hey, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's so convoluted, and I'm really hoping that it ends well, because even if it just ends well and something comes out of this, anything, and like I had that theory of how the League was able to leave all of their Earths, how Clark had talked about focusing on their friends, and that'll bring the Earths. Hopefully those Earths that combine together, maybe that made a new planet or a new something, and people could have adventures there. into the unknown, as it were, and something could come of this. I just hope it's not back to same as usual after this, but who knows? We'll see. They don't know if that's going to work because Pariah had said that if they left those Earths, they'll basically cease to exist. And that's when Green Arrow comes around, and we haven't heard from him in a long time, and he basically gives a speech saying, this is the way it always is with the Justice League. Anytime we go out to save the Earth or the planet or the multiverse, we don't ever know if we're gonna come back. And he's very right. I thought this was really cool. I thought this was good in the sense of, it's like, that's right. As ridiculous as all of this is, we don't know if it's gonna work, but that's the way it always is. And I have a very good success rate of it too. So he's probably like, just do it, guys. And Black Canary, she's like, hey, this, I don't know if we should take this risk. If something happens and we're risking everything. And Green Arrow's like, we got to trust Barry and Hal. We can do this. Plus, baby, I'm always with you. It's so nice. So Hal and Barry start their plan, and bright as day, run, Barry, run. So during the fight, another awesome Beast Boy moment. He sees Slade and he's like, an opening. I'm gonna take this opening and I'm just gonna jump at him and nothing happens. Crap, I suck. So over the next few pages, we get into some darker stuff. The heroes of Earth-Zero, they need a win. Any glimmer of hope. And then Darkseid just rips Frankenstein in half. That's not a win. That's not any hope. Black Adam is with Mr. Terrific, and he's like, these heroes are they're just gonna get overwhelmed. This is too much for them. They're just gonna fail. And Terrific's like, hey, dude, you're in here. They're risking their life. Shut up. And Black Adam, it's the end of the world, right? It's the end of the world. He gets told to shut up, and he's like, how dare you talk to me this way? It's like, dude, if this goes down the way it's going down, titles aren't gonna mean anything. Shut up. Nightwing's fighting off some of the students that got taken over by the darkness. Ravager starts getting under his skin, saying, how many students have you lost? All this type of stuff. So I was wondering if the darkness is using the people's minds that it takes over to exploit some of the heroes, like get under their skin, use things that would hurt them to get them off their game and take them over, because that seems to be what the darkness wants to do, at least what we think is the darkness. And we know it's not the actual great darkness. It's corrupted of some sort. Is it Pariah that corrupted it, or was it corrupted before it went and met with Pariah? I don't know. It seems to be like very confusing, because when you read it, they say that's not the great darkness. It's Pariah corrupting the darkness. So is it the actual great darkness just being corrupted, or did someone else corrupt it beforehand and used Pariah, and then Pariah's psychosis even more corrupted it? I hope there's an answer to that. That would be nice to know. So there's too many of the Dark Army to get a clear shot at Pariah or even Deathstroke. They need more heroes. And that's when Jace Fox breaks through with his bike. He had earlier in, I think it was one of the two, he said no, he wasn't going to join a team. That's not his thing. It doesn't matter who Jace was before he became Batman, but as soon as you become Batman in any iteration, all of a sudden you become an asshole. I do everything myself. Jace, me and you used to be friends. Not anymore. I got things to do by myself. And he's not alone. Steel, Blue Beetle, Miss Martian, Queen Nubia, Connor Hawk, and the Ray. I believe that's the characters who came with him. And Yara still thinks they have a chance now that they got some more heroes. Pariah looking all crazy. He's like, yes, worlds will live and heroes will die. So Steel, Booster Gold, Firestorm, Connor Hawk, and Ted Cord go in for an attack, right? And Pariah's just like, doo-ga-doo-ga-doo! And they disintegrate. So the only thing I can assume is that he made Earths out of them, because they show these Earth, I can only assume it's Earths. These balls go up into the multiverse, type picture, and that's them. They're just Earths now. Like, god damn it. So I was guessing it was the same as what happened to the Justice League.
Mr. Terrific brings Pariah's antimatter cannon out from the Hall of Justice, and he thinks he can use it to sever the connection between Pariah and the corrupted darkness. Time is running out, and that's exactly what Terrific needs to set this up. Pariah sees what they are doing and sends the whole Dark Army towards the cannon. Yara feels that she can use the Golden Bolodorus to show Pariah the truth about the darkness. Maybe it will give them the opening they need, but they need time, just like Terrific does. They need someone to... Before Yara can get out the next words, John Kent, throwing caution to the wind, flies out to take on the whole Dark Army. Unfazed, Pariah uses his powers on Swamp Thing and Captain Atom. He says the Justice League may have rejected his worlds, but let's see how the rest of them fare. As John Kent fights on, Yara is able to get behind Pariah, wrapping him with the Bolodorus. She shows him that the voice in his head is not the Great Darkness. Unable to accept this, Pariah breaks free from the Bolodorus, bursting with power, exclaiming that the heroes lie. Trying to give as much time as he can to his friends, John Kent is overmatched against the Dark Army. Darkseid lands a direct hit with his Omega beams, and the rest follow suit, beating him to the ground. John remembers things his mother and father said to him as a child. His father wanting him to make the S his own. His mother telling him he has the best of both worlds, and he can be great. So choose to be. What happens next in a matter of seconds can turn the tide of the battle or lose it completely. Pariah looks down at Yara, ready to send her to her own world, while Terrific has the cannon aimed at him, but it won't turn on. Jace has an idea. John Kent is down and almost out, and doesn't see the surprise on Pariah's face. With the flick of a switch, the cannon powers up, and a beam hits Pariah, trapping him in a cube of energy. Pariah's last words before he disintegrates before their eyes is that of relief. His curse is over.
Mr. Terrific brings Pariah's antimatter cannon from Crisis on Infinite Earths out and thinks he can use it to sever the connection between Pariah and the corrupted darkness. But he needs time, because he doesn't really know exactly how to do this. It's like a Hail Mary play. Pariah sees what they're doing, and he's like, "Hey, army, that way, now, all of you, go, go." And Yara feels that she can use the Golden Bolodorus to show him the truth about the Great Darkness. Maybe that will give them the opening they need, but she needs a distraction. And before she can say anything, that's when John Kent just jumps right in and takes on the entire army. And I really, really liked this moment. I thought that John Kent is a character who, in the past couple years, has just gone through a lot of crap. Some of the decisions that they've made with him, some people have hated, some people have liked, but everybody can agree the character has been just whatever, you know? And I thought this was a step up moment. This was a I am Superman moment. This is something Superman would do. He would be the one that, if this was Batman trying to do this, he would be going out there and fighting everybody, trying to give them the time that they need to complete the ridiculous plan that may or may not work, because that's what Superman does. That was the hope. That was the little win that they needed. Pariah takes out Swamp Thing and Captain Atom, so I'm assuming they're Earths now too. And while that's happening, Yara gets the Bolodorus around him, shows him what's going on, and he just can't accept it. He just can't, and he just overwhelms with power, and he's like, "You lie!" And he bursts out of there. But John Kent is fighting like a maniac, and he's trying to give his friends the time that they need, but he's just getting overwhelmed. I mean, he's going up against some of the heaviest hitters in all of DC. Doomsday's punching him, Darkseid lands a direct hit with the Omega beams, and then they all just beat him into the ground. And while this is happening, he's remembering things that his parents have told him, because, you know, he thinks his dad is gone. He thinks his dad is basically dead, from what Black Adam says. And it's like thinking back to when he was a kid and his dad was telling him, you know, I want you to make that S your own. And this is that moment. This is the moment. And he thinks back to his mother saying, you know, you got the best of both worlds. You have the ability to be great, so you need to choose to. That's the thing. You have to choose to do it. You can't just be it because of who you are. You have to make those decisions and do the hard things that nobody else wants to or can do. So what happens next was really cool. The way it was shown was neat. Pariah staring down Yara. He's about to send her into her own Earth, make an Earth out of her. Mr. Terrific is trying to work the antimatter cannon, and he can't do it. Jace has an idea, and he gets it to turn on. John Kent is just down and out. He's done. He doesn't see it, but then the light shines, and Pariah's like, what? And then they just hit the switch, and he's in this cube. And all of a sudden, he gets dissolved, and he goes to his own Earth. Is what I'm assuming, because stuff. So that's what I'm assuming is happening, because that's what we've seen with that power. I can only assume that they, instead of disconnecting him from the darkness, they reversed his power on him, because as we see, the darkness is still there. So John Kent's on his knees. He's just completely faded from the battle. He's spent. Mr. Terrific tells Jace that the Dark Army's power is fading, but it's not gone. But this at least gives them a fighting chance. And while that's happening, Black Adam is speeding past everybody, yelling for John Kent. And I thought this was really cool because of their relationship from the beginning, of him just not respecting him. You're a fool, son of Kal-El. You're this. I think he saw what he had done, what John Kent had done, and what was coming towards Kent, and he wanted to save him. He really wanted to save him, but he ends up getting held up by a bunch of the Dark Army. Lex Luthor was in there. A couple other guys were in there. Doomsday is on a collision course with John Kent, and he's like, I at least bought them time. Dad, I hope that you're proud of me. And I thought this was really well done. His character arc through this has actually been pretty good. I thought they've done John Kent really, really well in this book. You guys can say what you want, whether you like it or not, but I have read a lot of The Son of Kal-El, and I just thought it was boring. I was just like, okay. This, though, I think he has stepped up fully, and with him being Superman, I can see him going off and fighting some of the big badasses, the Lobos, the Darkseid. I can see it now. I can actually see it. He has just went through hell. So Doomsday's coming at him. He's defenseless to stop it. And he closes his eyes, and he hopes that his dad has been proud of him.
Doomsday's fist is stopped by a returning Superman. The force of the impact sends shockwaves everywhere. He swings again, and this time it's stopped by a rejuvenated John Kent. John has heard stories about Doomsday since he was a kid. With all the might of two Supermen, John and Clark punch Doomsday into oblivion. Overjoyed at the sight of his father, John embraces Clark, who tells him to take it easy. You've done enough. You've kept things safe while we found our way home. John looks at his father confused. We? Well, son, we had to take a few detours, but we followed the light. The Justice League and the Green Lantern Corps have just entered the battlefield. The odds have been evened, and the fight continues. Amongst the fighting, Arsenal spots Black Canary and is overwhelmed to see her alive. He asks, "Where's Oliver?" Terrific communicates with Alan Scott, wanting to know how the multiverse is looking. The darkness is still spreading. Whatever Pariah did, it's not over. It's a race to see what kills us first, the darkness or the infinite Earths. But if Pariah has been stopped, why is his army still possessed? The Flashes tell Terrific a power that strong wouldn't just disappear. It must have went somewhere else. A beaten and bloody Beast Boy tells them that he tried to stop him. Who? The fight comes to a standstill, and a familiar voice is heard above the rest. I don't care about the multiverse or any of you. A contract is a contract. With Dick Grayson in his grasp and towering over everyone, a gigantic Deathstroke filled with the darkness tells everyone he's not done until they're all dead.
Doomsday's about to kill John Kent, but his fist is stopped by a returning Superman, his dad. The force of it sends shockwaves everywhere. It's just like, and you're like, oh, wow, Jesus Christ, that's crazy. Doomsday is about to swing his other fist, and it's stopped by a rejuvenated John Kent, who's probably confused, but all like super excited at the same time. And both Supermen hit him so hard, he just goes, whee, all the way away. And John is just overjoyed at the sight of his dad. And his dad tells him, hey, you've done enough, man. Just relax. You are just bloody and disgusting. But you did enough. You kept it safe while we were on our way back. We? Yeah, we'll get into it. There were some detours, but we had to follow the light. So the Justice League is back, and they're with the Green Lantern Corps. So a couple of things here bothered me. I'm so sick and tired of hearing superheroes talk about safe. It's on TV. Everybody has to be safe. Safe, 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 safe. I'm just like, man, could there be something that just happens where they're on a mission and it's not to keep their I have to keep my family safe. My family is not safe. Do you ever think you're the reason why they're not safe? Because I don't see, like, Joe Schmo's family being bothered by supervillains. But yours is. Maybe you're the problem. So the Justice League and the Green Lantern Corps have joined the battle. They have evened the odds. And in the midst of this, Arsenal finds Black Canary. He finds Dinah and he's like, hey, oh my God, I can't believe you're alive. Oh, geez. You know, it was one of the most natural reactions to, you're dead, but now I see you. But he asks, where's Oliver? And that's a good question. Where is he? Mr. Terrific's talking with Alan Scott and asking, how's the multiverse looking? Because if you remember, they were sent, the JSA was sent to go check out the Great Darkness or whatever and kind of see what it's doing to the multiverse. They said whatever Pariah did, whatever he kickstarted, it's still going. And it's basically a race between time to what kills us first, the Great Darkness or the Infinite Earths, because remember, they are unstable. And someone asked, but if Pariah was stopped, why is the Dark Army still possessed? And the Flashes, both of them come back and they kind of bounce off each other and say, a power this big, this enormous, wouldn't just go away. It must have went somewhere else. And we get another Beast Boy moment. It didn't work out with him and Slade because he's beaten and crying and he says, I tried to stop him. And they're all like, who? And that's when we get the end of the comic. A gigantic freak of a Deathstroke is filled with the darkness. He is humongous. He has Nightwing in one hand, this limp Nightwing that he probably beat him half to death. Ravager down here, you know, his legacy. And he's like, I don't give a crap about the multiverse. Or any of you guys. A contract is a contract. And I'm not stopping until you're all dead. So he's completely psycho. As if he wasn't already. It must just, this darkness must just heighten your inner craziness to 10. Because Pariah was just already ridiculous to begin with. And look what happened with the darkness took a hold of him. Or this is, I don't know, because like they said, Swamp Thing had said, this isn't the darkness that I knew. So I'm wondering if there's got to be someone behind the curtain. Someone had to use Pariah. Someone had to taint the darkness, use it, and it was able to be manipulated. Pariah manipulated the darkness. It was his own craziness that was doing this. That's what John Kent had said in the last issue. So is there a man behind the curtain? And I was thinking, when I heard that this was a sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, I was thinking, well, how could they totally screw everything up? We've had the Anti-Monitor back a ton of times. Is this the actual just Monitor? I know he was killed by Harbinger, but wouldn't that just be like the finger up the butthole to that story? Let's bring back the Monitor, and he's bad, he's evil, and he's controlled the Great Darkness, and he's totally trying to reverse the thing that he tried to stop. I know that's ridiculous and probably not happening, but wouldn't that just be DC of it? Also, where's Green Arrow? What happened to him? Maybe somehow he wasn't able to get off of the multiverse too, like the Pariah's base of operations. We don't know. They're leaving that cliffhanger for issue 7. So Pariah is gone, and he was supposedly manipulating the darkness, and like I had talked about, it went to Deathstroke, but something they showed in the beginning of this that what he thought was the darkness or whatever gave him that power came to him. So something had to either manipulate Pariah into somehow obtaining the Great Darkness as a power, and then his own psychosis manipulated, or something manipulated the Great Darkness before it came to Pariah. And now it's at Deathstroke. And yeah, that's where this issue ends. We have one more issue, and there's good things about this, but there's also a lot of wasted time. You look back through the issues and you're like, the first issue, they had like a candle vigil for the Justice League, and literally 4 issues later, we knew they were alive. 3 issues later, we kind of did. But yeah, it's like, if you're gonna do something like that, guys, learn from your past mistakes. And they never do. The regular Justice League needed to probably go away for a while, or, you know, be somewhere else. I know Superman had been gone for a long time. That's fine. It's Superman. Superman needs to be written in a different way. He is what every person should strive to be. You might think that that's boring, but it's actually not to me. It's more of how he handles striving to be human, and with all of this amazing power that he knows he could just squash us under his thumb, but he doesn't. And I think that's something that we can learn from, and it can be really good comics. With his son, it could be even better with the way that John Kent stepped up from before. So what did you guys think of Dark Crisis number 6? As you're probably wondering, hey, this isn't Deceased number 1. If you check out the YouTube channel, I put out, not polls, but like I ask questions, hey, do you guys want me to review this or this? What I would really like is if you guys would comment with some cool Marvel stuff, because I'm not as well versed at Marvel as I am DC. I would like to do some other Marvel comics. And I think I'm going to put Deceased on the back burner right now, and I'm going to go back to Gambit, and we're going to do Gambit number 3 next, because that's going along and people seem to like that. But let's get into what I got. I got a couple omnibuses over the past couple days, so let's see what I got. I went out and I got the Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale Batman, and I really like this because this has the Long Halloween in it, and it's got some other stories. It's a really big, really heavy omnibus, but now that I have this, I'm thinking we might do something with my collected edition of the Long Halloween. If anybody is interested, I might put together another prize package with a bunch of other stuff. And I have this really cool wall hanging, guys, of Spider-Man or Superman. They're huge. They're already mounted, ready to go on a wall. So I'm going to think of a prize pack. Let's try to get the subscribers up to 300, and we'll talk about it then. And the next one I got, I was super excited for because I already have the first one, and since I've come back and read a lot of things, Jeff Johns, I guess it's, some people love him, some people don't, but I've noticed the comics that I've read from him, I ended up liking, so I am trying to collect all the stuff that I know he did, and I have the first volume of the JSA, so I went and I got the second volume of the JSA, and this is huge. This is 1,400 pages, guys, and it's ridiculously huge. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to read this. This is one of the few things with omnibuses where it's, like, not practical to read because they're so huge, you can't even hold them to read them. But I wanted the whole story. I don't want to buy it in volumes, you know, like 18 volumes just for that. There's literally, I think there's 50 issues of the JSA in here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra comics. So there's 56 comics in here. That's a lot easier for me to buy, and they were 70% off. So I paid, I think, $37 for this. So, hey, that's cool. But that's what I got, and I'm going to try to get one more video in before Christmas. And I just want to say, guys, whatever holiday you celebrate, have fun and be kind to each other. I am going to do something on Christmas Day because that is the holiday that I celebrate. I might do a live stream. I know it's been a while since I've done one. I might save some presents and open them. We might open some comic books. We might just do some stuff. Maybe 9 p.m. Christmas time. If you're not doing anything, come hang out with the Laps Comic Fan and we'll just talk about comics, guys. It'll be fun. So, peace out, y'all.